Let me now bring in Tom Dempsey with a look at the midterms and what our Decision Desk HQ projections are showing. Tom, hello. Welcome back from paternity leave, first of all. You're a sight for sore eyes. Good to see you again. Talk to us about this data and what DDHQ is projecting come November.
Yeah, good to be back, Markie. Good morning from Washington, D.C. Look, Election Day sits less than 16 weeks away at this point, but these brand new numbers out from Decision Desk HQ bring some good news for Democrats in particular. Let's get right to it. These are brand new numbers released just this morning by Decision Desk HQ, and it found that the projections, 62% shot for Democrats at winning control of the House. In total, the report projects the party could pick up 12 seats in the lower chamber, giving them a sizable majority. Over in the Senate, a slightly different story. DDHQ projects Republicans with a 57% chance of maintaining control. However, the report also says Democrats could pick up 3 additional seats, and that's very notable because that would make it a 50-50 tie in the upper chamber, meaning that if this does end up happening, Vice President J.D. Vance would be tasked with the deciding vote in any tiebreaker vote. So to be very clear, a lot can still happen between now and Election Day, but these numbers from DDHQ do leave open the realistic chance that one party could win full control of Congress. So a lot to watch out for come November, Markie.
Yeah, so Tom, what about the balance of power overall and where are projections sitting there?
Yeah, so when it comes to balance of power and pretty much the biggest goal for the Democrat Party come November, and Republicans for that matter, is to win full control of the Senate and the House. And these numbers from Decision Desk HQ give Democrats a 65% chance of possibly winning winning at least one chamber, I should say, a 65% chance of winning at least one chamber. The report goes a bit deeper, though, giving Democrats a 40% chance of winning control of both the House and Senate. Republicans, on the other hand, have just over a 1 in 3 shot at controlling both chambers. When it comes to split control, the forecast puts the chances at around 25%. But again, to be crystal clear, a lot can happen between now and November. Like we said, just under 16 weeks. Some states still need to hold primaries. There could be a lot of information that gets revealed between now and then. So again, these numbers are going to be very key to watch with a lot on the line come November on Election Day, Markie.
And a lot can change on a dime. Tom Dempsey, you haven't missed a beat. Congrats on baby girl. We've missed you. Welcome back, my friend. For more on this, let me bring in the co-hosts of RisingOnTheHill.com, Robbie Suave and Lindsey Granger. Good morning to both of you. Let's just dive right in to DDHQ's midterm forecast, which gives Democrats the 62% chance of winning the House, projecting that they'll win 227. That's a 12-seat pickup for them. Robbie, let me start with you on this. Were you surprised that Democrats are projected not just to win the House, but to wipe out the gains Republicans expected to make after the redistricting push?
No, I'm not, Markie. It's going to be a tough election for the Republicans. No way around that. There are elements of the conservative movement that are just dissatisfied with what President Trump has delivered in this second term. And many voters are going to need a reminder of what they didn't like about Democratic governance before Trump was brought back to power. And also, the party out of power always seems to improve during the midterm elections. So it's really not that surprising. Republicans are, facing a lot of dissatisfaction over the Iran war and how that's affecting gas prices, the perception that the Republicans are not laser focused on the economy. And so I see that really hurting them. And that's why the House is likely to go to the Democrats. The Senate, I think, not so much. That's more about the specific personalities in those states they need to win, where it's not maybe necessarily in the cards for them.
Yeah, and let me get to the Senate in just a moment. But Lindsey, is the battle for the House Democrats to lose, or do they still need to stay aggressive if they're going to pull this off?
Well, I think we understand that for Democrats, the message can't be anything but Trump. You have to have actual pillars that the entire party is running on, and separately people that represent each state, what they're running on. So I think that's the biggest distinction and the way that they could possibly drop the ball here. But Democrats do have the wind beneath their wing, given that the economy is not anywhere much different than when people voted President Trump in and asked for that major change. And in fact, things have made life a little bit harder like the closure of the Strait of Hormuz that caused prices to fluctuate and go up and down each day. And so I think that there is an overall wind beneath Democrats' wings, but now it's up to them about the messaging and what they do with that momentum, because there are still months until Election Day.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.